I've been thinking, and we do a lot of funny jokes and things like that. And today I thought I'd talk about something a little bit more serious. Uh, and the subject today is prison. Uh, a lot of people are asking questions about it. A lot of people are curious. They don't know what to expect. They've you may be facing prison yourself, and you want to kind of know what it's like. You want to hear from people that kind of know and are going to be honest about it. So I figured that was something that I was in a position to do, as I have been in trouble before, and I have been to prison. A small note here is I can only really talk about Georgia prisons. I can't talk about other prisons because everywhere is different. Everywhere has different rules and regulations that they do, and things that they allow and things that they don't. For example, some prisons, they have workout rooms and they have weights and all that kind of stuff. But like in Georgia, you don't have that. In Georgia, if you want to work out, you got to like make your own. Like we worked out with water bags. It was just bags, trash bags filled with water, put into like a net bag and tied to a mop. And you would just lay down on some buckets and, do your workout with that. And you weren't supposed to have them. If you got caught, you could get in trouble and everything. But like I said, in some prisons, it's everybody's allowed to have them. Also in Georgia, there's a lot of stuff that they don't offer on the store and stuff. Like a friend of mine told me he was in Michigan, that over there they could buy little TVs and stuff that you could sit in your room, and that's just not available in Georgia. Georgia is really, really, really strict on what they allow in. Everything's going to be ridiculously priced. Like we could get a CD player, and it was just a little bitty clear Walmart CD player like looking thing, and it was like $150. So that kind of gives you an idea of what you're looking at. There's a lot of theft, buying and selling and trading and things of that nature. So one of the questions from Quora I've got over here on my screen, a lot of the most commonly asked questions so that I can maybe helpfully. The first question it asks is, what is daily life like in prison? Every day can be different, but also the same, I guess. Like, for the most part, they're going to wake you up early in the morning. They're going to open the door to your cells. Some places are going to have, some prisons will have cells with 2 to 4 people in it, and you'll have different little cells, and you'll have bunk beds. And then some places are just a big open dorm, which is just like, it basically looks like just a big ass room, and there's just beds piled all over through it. So anyway, they're gonna come in first thing in the morning. They're gonna open the door and they're gonna scream out, "Chow call!" If you hear it and you get up, you get to go eat. If you don't get up or you don't hear it, you don't eat breakfast. That's all there is to it. At that point, you'll walk to breakfast or whatever. You'll come back. Pretty soon after that, usually they'll do like a pill call thing and all this stuff for people that take medicines, and they'll have to go out and go somewhere to take their pills. Then you have to start getting ready for inspection. For inspection, like everything has a certain way it has to be. In your locker, usually there's actually a picture of how they want things. Your shirts have to be folded exactly this way and set exactly right here. Your pants have to be folded exactly this way and set right here. You could have 3 books. You could have 1 cup. And it tells you like where in your locker you're able to put it. And they're pretty small lockers, so like, you really can't put a lot of stuff in there. You have to make your bed a very specific way. You have to be dressed and looking a very specific way. And when they come by for inspection, they're going to check all kinds of stuff. They're going to search all over for contraband. They may ask you questions. They may scream at you and holler at you. There's no telling exactly. But inspection, usually you have to stay inspection ready for 2 to 3 hours. After that time, usually if you want to, you can go back to sleep, and there's not really anything anybody will say about it. But if you're in bed during those times, usually it's kind of frowned upon, because if they come in and you're the dumbass who hasn't made his bed, and then they scream at everybody in the dorm because of you're a problem. So yeah, you don't want to be that guy. After that, mostly people sit around and wait for the TVs to get cut on. Normally there are 2 TVs. There's one TV that's always on sports, and one TV that's just for whatever. And you pretty much have to agree on what channels you're going to watch. The biggest, baddest dude or the gang that controls that dorm usually dictates what's on there. And you can go talk to them if you want to watch something, but yeah, there's no guarantee. There were certain things that were kind of almost mandatory, you know, because like everyone, like when Sons of Anarchy was a thing, like we watched Sons of Anarchy, like it was happening. And it didn't matter what you wanted or what anybody else wanted. For the most part, you were watching Sons of Anarchy because that was, you know, the big show at the time. There's not a whole lot to do, honestly. Sometimes you could go to the library and get some books. Every now and then you'd get a yard call and get to go outside, but that wasn't guaranteed. When you do, it could always get cut short for whatever reason. You had different people up to different activities. Usually it's best to stay to yourself. After a while, it'll be lunchtime. They'll come in and holler about lunchtime. You go eat lunch. You come back, you sit around for a while, and once again, usually do nothing. Depends though. Like you could have a detail, which is a job. So you might have a job you got to go to at a certain time every day, or you might have classes you got to go to at a certain time every day. You know, there's different things going on, so it's constantly people moving from place to place and going around doing different things. And it really kind of depends on, you know, like I said, like if you've got classes or a job or anything. For the most part, it was pretty calm overall. Like for people that minded their own business, you know, you really didn't have to worry about a whole lot. It's not like a lot of people say, like, you're going to go to prison and get raped. Like, it's not really that common, especially for people that mind their own business. Like, believe me, there's plenty of gay people in prison. Plenty of gay people in prison. So it's not like they're just going to be wanting you and they're going to beat you up to take you when they've got other gay people that will willingly do what they want. You know, it's usually, as long, you know, that keeps you out of trouble. Then after a while, yeah, you go to dinner, come back to the dorm, you sit around some more, and eventually the lights will kind of dim. Most of the time, there's a shower bathroom area, and more often than not, it's very open. While I'm sitting here using the restroom, there might be another dude standing right in front of me, you know, his ass right in my face like this, like brushing his teeth in the sink. The guy that's over here on the toilet next to you using the bathroom is over here talking to you. You know, there's like no privacy whatsoever. And you've got people that will walk by the toilet area and look in to, you know, to see what you're doing and see if they see anything. So there's some really weird people. You're pretty much always going to get watched. Like, there's nothing you're going to do that is not going to get seen. The showers are pretty much the same way. Some places I went to, you had your own little shower. More often than not, though, it was a big room with like 6 shower heads around, and everybody just gets in there and you're in there naked showering. Once again, the drop the soap thing, it's really, in my experience, it's more of a myth. Like I said, if you're not gay and you let it be known that you're not gay and you're not into that, usually people aren't going to bother you. But, you know, if you're openly gay, you know, it's almost like open season in there. So, it's up to you whether you want to advertise that and act on it or not. But yeah, like I said, as far as that picking up the soap and getting stuck, you know, that's pretty much doesn't happen. There's enough people that want to do it willingly, or will do it for a little bit of money. Everything's for sale. Everything's for sale in there. You know, whether it's drugs or sex or whatever, you could buy it with stuff from the store. There's drugs in there, there's phones, you know, knives, pretty much anything you could want, really. You can still get in there. It's a lot more expensive. I guess food is the thing, oddly enough, that was the rarest, because like people didn't bring in food. That just didn't happen. But anyway, you know, eventually you'll go to bed, but the lights stay on. The temperature is usually either really, really, really hot or really, really, really cold. You've got people up all times of the night doing things. You've got people walking around the dorm, especially if you're in an open dorm. They'll walk right past your bed, you know, while you're sleeping. It's never really just quiet and peaceful, everybody's asleep. That usually is not a thing. So you kind of have a lot of stuff you got to get used to. And then, like, you know, the next day it just starts over. It's really, 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 really boring. You have plenty of time to sit and think. You know, there's plenty of time to work out or draw or whatever it is you want to do, because there's I mean, you've got infinite time. You've got no responsibilities for the most part. You don't have family members and loved ones there wanting stuff. So it's really all about you and what you want to do. There's plenty of stuff available. You know, there's classes where you can learn a trade at most of these places. A lot of times there's only one or two at each prison. So if you want a specific thing, you might have to put in for a transfer to go to this prison just so that you can, you know, learn that skill or have that job or whatever. Everybody kind of mingles together. You don't really know what anybody's particular crime is usually. It's usually considered pretty fucking rude to ask. As I said, they have phones in there. They have cell phones. They have a lot of contact with outside. So one of the biggest things is to be honest. Like, don't lie about your charges and shit, because they'll look you up. They will look you up, and they will find out. So, would you rather be the guy that told the truth about the charge, or would you rather be the guy that lied about the charge, and they found out, and now you're a liar? And now they believe in shit you say. You see what I'm saying? So, like, for the most part, if you're in there for a charge, you know, just be like, hey, you know, I'm in here for this. This is what happened. I'm trying to do better or whatever. And usually people can see that you're genuine about that, and they'll just leave you the fuck alone. And like I said, you know, like for me, like I'm a Christian, so I was reading my Bible and doing Bible studies. I got an associate's in ministry. I took brick masonry. I took welding, a couple other things. There were some computer classes. I went in there and helped with those, to help other people learn how to use them and stuff like that. I drew a lot. I ran tattoos on people. Running tattoos can be a decent source of money. But we'll go into a lot of that stuff later or whatever. So the second question was, how do inmates survive in prison? Well, hopefully you have somebody that sends you money. Because if you don't have people that send you money, you're in a pretty crappy situation. Like, you really don't get anything. You get the basic food, which is usually not enough to keep you full. You know, you don't have anything to snack on. On the weekends, you don't have anything. You know, there's no sodas. You know, coffee is a big thing. Sometimes people will give you coffee if you ask them. Like, you know, if you ask for a cup of coffee, sometimes people just give it to you. Sometimes they'll give you something to do. You know, they might say, hey, go make me a cup, and you can have a cup too. It's called I buy, you fly. Basically, if I'm paying for it, you're going to do the legwork. And that's how you can sometimes get stuff, you know, for free. The thing about the Snickers bar on the pillow that they're going to tell you about, I've never once really experienced that. Nobody tried me like that. I don't know if it's just because, you know, who I am, or because it's bullshit. But I've never heard of anybody that actually happened to, where somebody just left some food on their pillow and they ate it and they were like, oh yeah, now you got to pay that back, bro. So I wouldn't worry about that a whole lot. Like I said, there were a lot of people that if you were hungry, that I ran into, you know, they'd give you a ramen, you know, or something like that. You know, they tried to look out for you, but, like, you don't even have paper and pencil. You know, you don't have, sweatshirts and stuff like that, or shorts to go outside in. You know, you've got the basic boots that you wear, and they're very uncomfortable, so you can't buy any shoes. You know, you can't listen to music. And then as I was getting out, they started this tablet thing. They have these little tablets now. And you can get different stuff on it, but it all costs money. To send somebody a message, it costs like 50 cents. To send them a message, and it costs them 50 cents to send you a message. So if you say hi and they say hi, that's $1. You know, right off the bat. But you can do longer messages. Anyway, they've got games, on the tablet now. They're gonna have real basic type of stuff, but like say they might have Fruit Ninja on there or something that's available, you know, on Google Play for free. But through them, it's gonna cost $12. They're gonna make money off of everything. You can download songs. They're usually about $2 each, I think. A lot of people will pass their tablets around, rent them out and stuff like that, so that you can have some of those experiences if you've got money. Plus, it gives them more money to buy stuff on, you know, their tablet. There's some different learning videos and things like that that are available. I think they use Khan Academy, and I actually use that a lot to learn some more math and to learn a lot of stuff. So there's different hustles. A hustle is just a job. You can wash people's clothes. You'll get you some soap. You'll try to buy you some bleach, a brush if you can, and you'll wash their clothes in the sink, and make sure that they're really, really, really white. And if they get any stains, they want you to get those out. And if you do that, you can make you a little bit of money. If you run tattoos, you can make some money. Some people run what they call store, which is where you loan people goods with interest. Like, I might give you 2 packs of ramen noodles, and the next week you gotta pay me back 3. As long as people are paying you, you can actually make some money. But you're gonna have people, of course, especially if you're not real tough and don't have a good reputation, they'll get stuff from you for store, they won't pay you back, and you'll go ask for your money, and they'll just be like, F you, I ain't giving you shit. Store can be troublesome because there's going to be times when you're going to have to fight people, and you're going to get disrespected by people that think you're weak, and they can take advantage of you. How you handle that is going to tell a lot about how you survive. I didn't really get in a lot of major fights. I had a guy come in and try to rob me, and he had a lock, a lock for your locker, and he had it tied to a sock, and he come around his shoulder and hit me with it, and I jumped up and I blocked it, and I got like a scar there where it kind of laid me open, and I couldn't move my arm at all. Like, my arm was stuck in this position for several months. Besides that, though, like, pretty much I didn't have a lot of people mess with me. There are a lot of gangs. I tended not to have anything to do with that life. I didn't do drugs. I didn't buy stuff. I didn't get on the phone and, get into a lot of those other activities. Didn't gamble, any of that. So I stayed a lot away from a lot of trouble just by that. But for the most part, I didn't join a gang. There's people in there that don't join gangs, so you don't have to join a gang. It seems like usually it just brought more trouble than it was worth, honestly. But they can also cause you issues, because if you're not in a gang and somebody that is in a gang, something happens, it's harder for you to retaliate or do anything about it. You can't just go hit this guy in the mouth, that's in the blue gang, for example, because then you're going to have 10 people from the blue gang come and, jump you, maybe even stab you. You never know. So your best bet is to stay away from, people in gangs as much as you possibly can. And they're not going to come bothering you for the most part. If you don't go to them and try to start interactions with them, they're going to leave you alone for the most part. So, once again, stay to yourself. It's a lot cleaner in prisons than you think. At least most of the ones we were at, because people were cleaning all the time. Like, there's some people that, like, if the sink had a droplet of water in it, they would get mad and want to fight over it. So, you got people that are really, 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 really sensitive about, hygiene in prison. If you don't brush your teeth every day, take a shower, everything, it's going to be a problem. Like, people will beat you up because your breath stinks. It will happen. The best advice is try not to offend anyone in any way. If it's with your actions, your smell, your hygiene, any of that, if you're listening to really loud music and jumping around in front of the TV or something, it's going to piss somebody off, because you're distracting from the TV or you're being loud or whatever. So try to stay to yourself. What's the food like in prison? Well, in Georgia, there's no ham. There's no pork of any kind. So, all of your meats are pretty much going to be turkey based. You're going to have turkey ham, turkey bacon, turkey this, turkey that. It's lots of hamburger helper type stuff, lots of bread, lots of beans, lots of like potatoes, anything that's like lots of carbohydrates is going to be something you're going to get a lot. You're going to be loaded with carbs. You get a lot of vegetable stuff, but a lot of times the vegetables aren't prepared well. Like, they were giving us rutabagas, and I'd never even had a rutabaga before, but we'd get this little thing of rutabagas, and they've got like these husks hanging off the piece that are like really woody, and like if you tried to eat it, it's almost like you were eating a stick. There's no salt unless you buy it, and you basically have to buy it from other inmates that steal it from the kitchen. It's an awkward situation. Like, basically, this much salt is supposed to go, like this much salt is supposed to go into this meal that we're cooking today. But instead, I'm going to steal this and sell it to other people so that they have to pay me for salt. And so everybody else suffers, basically, and doesn't have salt on their food because that guy wanted to sell it for some money. You're running the same situation with a lot of other things. They've got, when you get your dinner, you usually get like this little bitty cup, like that big, of Kool-Aid. And a lot of times it's going to be mostly water because they've taken the other Kool-Aid pack and stolen it, and they're going to sell it. So now you've got 3 Kool-Aid things worth of water for 1 Kool-Aid packet. So it's basically just colored water. There's a lot of things that are like that. It's just part of life. But for the most part, if you've got money, you can get extra food. People from the kitchen will bring back all kinds of stuff. They'll bring back sandwiches. They'll bring back big old stacks of cookies and all kinds of stuff like that. But you've got to have the money for it. And of course, if they get caught, then they get in trouble. And they might get kicked out of the kitchen, and then you ain't got nobody that's bringing you the stuff anymore. And, it might be months before you have it again. But the food is pretty terrible. It's, there's none of it that's really going to be good. I've been told at some prisons they have, like in Michigan or whatever, they have certain days where they get like chicken on a bone, or like a pizza, or a hamburger, but where I was at, they didn't have it. I didn't realize I was streaming. I thought I was recording.